what we're doing today, this is the lesson for 6-2. What you're doing is solving systems of equations algebraically, but they're all going to be word problems. So you won't see the equations there. We need to first set up the actual the actual equations that we need to solve first, all right? Then you're probably going to want to use the multiplying then elimination method. So multiply to make your own opposites. So this first word problem says Gary bought 5 shirts and 3 ties on clearance for $34. At the same store, Steve bought 3 shirts and 6 ties for $33. Find the price of 1 shirt and 1 tie. So the first thing that you're going to see on your homework already, we need to figure out what letters we're using. Because Class Kick is set up in the way that it is, all right, I already picked out the letters that you're going to use. For example, in this problem, we're dealing with shirts and ties. So over to the left-hand side, you're going to see that you have S for shirts, and you're going to have T for ties, all right? On your Class Kick homework today, I used capital letters for all of them just to make it consistent, okay? So if you don't type in a capital letter in Class Kick today, it'll mark it wrong. So when we go to set up the equations, I think this is going to be easier for me to write on the board. So when we go to set up the equations, it says that we have 5 shirts and 3 ties. So we're going to have 5S plus 3T, and they're selling for $34. So that's going to be your first equation that you have. For the second equation, it says Steve bought 3 shirts and 6 ties for $33. So he bought 3 shirts, 3S, plus 6 ties, 6T, for $33. Those are our 2 equations that we need to do. The first thing that you need to do is set up your equations. Now we're going to solve it just like we've been solving this system. So I want to try and make opposites with my letters. Now, when I take a look at the S's and I take a look at the T's, I think it's easier to make opposites with the T's because 3 goes into 6 evenly. So I want to make opposites of the bigger number. The bigger number is 6. So the opposite of 6 is -6. To get a -6 here in the red equation, I need to multiply that 3 by -2. So I'm going to multiply this entire top equation by -2. I need to remember that we need to distribute, distribute, and distribute. Remember to distribute all 3 times. So when I distribute, I have -2 times 5s, which is -10s. I have -2 times 3t, which is -6t. And then I have -2 times 34, which is -68. Now that I have my distributed equation, all right, I'm going to add going down because I have my opposites right now. I have my -6 and +6. So when I add going down, these 6t's are going to cancel out. So I have 3s plus -10s, which gives me -7s, equals 33 plus -68 is -35. Now it's just a one-step equation. Divide by -7, divide by -7, we get S equals 5. So what is the price of 1 shirt? The price of 1 shirt is $5. Now you're going to take that 5, and we can take that 5 and sub it in for S somewhere. We can either sub it into here or here back in our original equations. When I take a look at these 2 equations, I want to work with these smaller numbers because they're easier to sub into. So I'm going to take and I'm going to sub into, they're both about the same. Let's just sub it into this top one. So I'm subbing it into 5s plus 3t equals 34. I'm taking this 5 and subbing it into there for s. So instead of 5 times s, I have 5 times 5 plus 3t equals 34. 5 times 5 is 25. Now it's just a two-step equation, minus 25 minus 25. So I have 3t equals 9, divide by 3, divide by 3, and we get that t equals 3. So the price of one shirt was $5. The price of one tie was $3. So that's what you're going to have to do. Just go step by step through the word problem, set up your equations, and then solve it like we have been. Take a look at this next one, please. I'm going to want you to try this one on your own, all right? It says a week at the Beach Bay Hotel in Florida includes 2 nights and 4 meals, which costs $195. A week includes 7 nights and 10 meals, which costs $642.50. Find the cost of a room and a price of a meal. Just so that everybody's using the same letters, let's use N for the nights, and let's use M for meals. Go ahead and set up the 2 equations, please. Go ahead and set up the 2 equations, please. So looking at the blue underlines, we have 2 nights plus 4 meals equals 195. Looking at the red underline from the word problem, we have 7 nights, so 7N, plus 10 meals, 10M, equals 642.50. So now the next thing that we would need to do is we need to create our own opposites. Now, 2 does not go in evenly to 7. 4 does not go in evenly to 10. So in order to create our own opposites, we're actually going to have to multiply both equations on this one. Now, the easiest way to figure out what the opposites are to multiply your 2 numbers together. I can either make opposites with my n's, so 2 times 7 is 14, or I can make opposites with my m's. 4 times 10 is 40. Well, I'm going to tell you that 14s are a lot easier to work with than 40s because it's a smaller number. So to make opposites with my n's, I'm going to create a negative 14 and a positive 14. So I'm going to multiply this top one by 7 and this bottom one by 2. I now have to distribute, 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 distribute. Go ahead and solve the rest of this one on your own, please. Distribute all 6 times to find your 2 equations. When you do that, you'll have opposites with your n's because you'll have a negative 14 and a positive 14, add going down. Go ahead and solve the rest of this one on your own, please. Give you about 1 more minute to finish this up. So in this one, we need to distribute all 6 times. -7 times 2n is -14n. -7 times 4m is -28m. -7 times 195 is -1365. Distributing across the bottom, 2 times 7n is 14n. 2 times 10m is 20m, and 2 times 642.50 gives you 1,285. We now want to add going down. When we add going down, this 14 and -14 cancel out. So we end up with -8m equals -80. Divide by -8, divide by -8, and we end up with m equals 10. Now take that m equals 10, and we can sub it into here or here for m. I think that top equation is a little bit easier to sub into. So I'm going to have 2n plus, instead of 4 times m, I'm taking my 10 and subbing it in there. So 4 times 10 equals 195. Take and solve that equation. So this would be 2n plus 40 equals 195, minus 40 minus 40. So we get 2n equals 155, divide by 2, and you get that n equals 77.5. Let's take a look at another one. It says Karen is planning a party with some friends. She wants to buy 12 sandwiches for $16. If a chicken sandwich costs $1.50 and a turkey sandwich costs $1, how many of each type did she buy? Now, this one is a little bit more challenging to set up because it's not as obvious as the previous two. Your first clue is that she is buying 12 sandwiches. So you want to know how many of each she's buying. So the first thing that we need to do is deal with the number of sandwiches. So however many chicken sandwiches plus the number of turkey sandwiches equals 12, because the number of chicken plus the number of turkey gives us our 12 total. Now we're going to deal with the cost. The cost of a chicken sandwich is $1.50. So 150C plus the cost of a turkey sandwich is $1. So plus 1T for turkey equals your total of 16. We're not actually going to solve this one. We're just going to set it up. But this is how you would actually set it up. This one's a little bit more difficult because they don't specifically say this and this equals this. This and this equals this. This one is a little bit more all over the place that you have to piece together what they're talking about. All right, this is our last one. Let It Snow Resort offers 2 winter specials. The Getaway special includes 2 nights and 4 meals for $270. The Extended Stay special includes 3 nights and 8 meals for $435. Find the cost of a night and the price of a meal. Go ahead and try and set up the 2 equations, please. So we're going to use N for nights and M for meals. The first one says 2 nights and 4 meals, so 2N plus 4m equals 270. The extended stay special is 3 nights, so 3n, and 8 meals, 8m, equals 435. There's our two equations. Go ahead and solve the rest of this one on your own. I would create opposites with my m's because 4 goes into 8 evenly. Go ahead and try this one, please. They give you about 30 more seconds or so. Again, I would make opposites with my m's because 4 goes into 8 evenly. So I want to create an 8 and a negative 8. Well, to get a negative 8 up here, I would have to multiply by negative 2. Distribute, distribute, distribute. So negative 2 times 2 is negative 4n. Negative 2 times 4m is negative 8m. There's my opposites, 8 and negative 8. And then negative 2 times 270 gives you negative 540. So now I want to take my blue and my purple equation and add going down. 3n plus negative 4n is negative 1n. Those cancel out. The 8s equals 435 plus negative 540 is negative 105. Divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, and you get n equals 105. Take that n equals 105, and you can sub it into here or here for n. I think that top equation is a little bit easier. So I'm going to have 2 times, instead of n, I have 105 plus 4m equals 270. 2 times 105 is 210. So 210 plus 4m equals 270. Minus 210 minus 210. So I have 4m equals 60. Divide by 4, divide by 4, m equals 15. So I got m equals 15 and n equals 105. Again, you're going to solve these exactly like you have been, all right? You just have to set up the equations first.